Hello, I'm Richard Cohen. Welcome to episode 4 of Meditation for Beginners. Today's topic is, or are, mantras. M-A-N-T-R-A-S, mantras, or a mantra. This is a very simple meditation for beginners series. So we're not going to go into the great depth that this topic really deserves. Mantras have been around and been useful to human beings for centuries in their spiritual practices and in their meditative practices. They still are often a big part of spiritual and meditation practices in the East. But for the purposes of today's session, I'm just going to give you a very basic overview and introduction to the idea so that you might consider incorporating it into your own life. So a mantra is a word or a set of words that you say over and over again, either out loud or in your head. You think it. If you say them out loud to a particular rhythm or melody, you get into a whole other section of practice, which is chanting, which various groups of people are also find very powerful, is chanting together. But that's not what this episode is about. This is just about the speaking of it or the thinking of a particular word or phrase. It could even be an idea over and over and over again. So as you look back over these 4 videos, these 4 episodes, this over and over and over idea has been threaded through each of these episodes. They're all about repetition. Part of meditation is finding a rhythm, a repetition. It's what takes your mind out of the chaotic state it's often in our daily lives when we're thinking and feeling so many things and things are coming at us. External stimulus could be a car in another lane. It could be a child you're working with at a childcare center. It could be your spouse. It could be anything. The world is constantly bombarding us or handing us the opportunity to receive external stimulus. But by having a mantra or any kind of repetitive practice, like breathing in and out, like 4-4-4, 4-1-4-1, like what did we do last time? Yeah, like being mindful and noticing what you're doing. I know I'm breathing in, I know I'm breathing out, and you keep saying that to yourself over and over and over again. It's that over and over and over again that changes the what's happening in your brain, the chemicals that are firing in your brain. It not only can slow them down, it can. We have a lot of research now that tells us that parts of our brain that tend to stay inactive in our daily lives can become quite active in a meditative state. Your brain waves, your brain will start operating on different waves than it tends to on a normal and daily basis. And that's some of the neurological value of meditation, because you're literally exercising parts of your brains and types of brain waves that don't normally get exercise. So a mantra is one of the ways that can help you do that. When I was a kid, my older brother, so this was in the 70s, my older brother, it was a big deal in the early 70s, if you're old enough to remember. My brother was into transcendental meditation, or TM. It was sort of on the far end of the hippie movement as we moved into the early 70s. And it became very trendy and popular and there were lots of books about TM. And in TM, you had a mantra that you said over and over to yourself. Again, either softly out loud, kind of vocalizing it in your throat, or thinking it again and again. And at that time, everyone had their own special secret mantra. And my brother had his. And he went to some yogi, or at least it was some guy in St. Louis in the early 70s who said he was a yogi. Who knows? That's a spiritual guide. And he gave my brother his special secret mantra that he was never allowed to tell anyone else. You can imagine that for me as a younger brother, as the little brother, that was killing me. And so a lot of my time was spent bugging him, saying, tell me your mantra, just tell me your mantra, just tell me the first letter. What's this? What's it sound? What's it rhyme with? I couldn't deal with not knowing that secret. Fast forward many decades, like to last year or the year before, and I think I remembered to ask my brother again after all those decades, and he did tell me what it was finally. He had stopped using it. He hadn't used it for decades, and he shared it with me. And it was, to my ear, it sounded like gibberish. It was a series of sounds that were strung together that he supposedly was unique to him, and he said it over and over again as part of his meditation practice. Nowadays, we've come to adapt that idea of mantras into a much simpler, user-friendly opportunity that I'm going to share with you right now. So when I was a teenager, so now we're in the 80s, and I was reading about mantras prior to the internet. I don't know where I was reading. I think I got one of my brother's old TM books, probably. And I just made up for myself, because the idea behind a mantra, theoretically, is that it's meaningful to you. You're choosing something that speaks to your soul, that guides you toward where you want to be. And so for me, and as a teenager, I just chose the word calm. It was pretty obvious and it made sense to me. So when I was meditating, I would breathe in calm and breathe out calm. And that's what I would think to myself as I was breathing. Calm, 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 over and over for the length of the meditation. There are some variations on this idea, by the way. And so this is what I'm doing right now, is just giving you lots of ideas, and then we'll start the meditation and you can try out whichever ones resonate for you, right? So some variations on that idea is, you could say to yourself in your mind as you're breathing, because remember, as you go back through these 4 episodes, it all starts with breathing. That was episode 1, right? So as you're breathing, you could do what I did as a teenager, say calm, calm. Maybe your primary language isn't English, and maybe there's a word for calm or a word that makes you feel calm in your primary language that speaks to you and you want to use. So one variation is, yeah, you could pick whatever word you want that has that force, that energy for you that you feel you need, right? So when I'm stressed, I know that what I want to be and what I need is calm. And so I would use that word calm. But another way to do it is to think to yourself, I'm breathing in calm, I'm breathing out stress. You really could start on the out breath. I'm breathing out my stress. I'm breathing in my calm. I'm breathing out my stress. I'm breathing in my calm. You could even name it, right? I'm breathing out that guy that cut me off on the highway this morning. And I'm breathing in peace. I'm breathing out my husband that I just want to kill. Don't kill anybody, by the way. It's just a thought you have, right? See the earlier episode about having thoughts that aren't real and you don't have to act on them. It's okay to think, I want to kill my husband, as long as you don't act on it. So that's your stressor, because you had an argument with your husband, right? So I'm breathing out my husband and I'm breathing in tranquility. Or maybe it's more specific. Maybe you feel uncomfortable by naming your husband because you love him. So I'm breathing out that argument I had with my husband, and I'm breathing in restfulness. I'm breathing out that failure I had at work today, that mess up I made, and I'm breathing in calmness and peace. And I would just pick one word, calm or peace or tranquility. I wouldn't try to do a whole phrase. So that's another way to do it. You can just repeat the same word over and over, or you can breathe out whatever is negatively impacting you in your life, and breathe in what feels to you to be its opposite, or the agent that will heal it. So maybe it's I'm breathing out that my child is driving me crazy, and I'm breathing in love. I'm remembering that at my core, I love my child so much. You're not saying all that. You're just saying, I'm breathing out my child, and I'm breathing in love. I'm breathing out Samantha, that's maybe my child's name, and I'm breathing in love. Reminding yourself that underneath all of those behaviors of Samantha that drive you crazy, underneath that, there's still this abiding love between you and your child. So you name her, I'm breathing out her, and I'm breathing in the love that I feel for her, or that we share, or whatever it is. So it could just be as simple as Samantha, love, Samantha, love. Okay, so these are all just variations on mantras. You can pick, again, any word or phrase that feels meaningful to you. Is there a verse from a spiritual song or hymn, something that's important to you in your religion or your spirituality, that whenever you hear it, it makes you, it moves you in a positive way, in a deep way? A line from a poem, something someone said to you. When you did the guided imagery exercise meditation with me 2 episodes ago, and the person who embodies love whispered something into your ear, you could use what they whispered. That could become your mantra, right? You say it as you breathe in, you say it again as you breathe out. Or again, you can use the out breath to let go of the garbage, let go of the stuff that's burdening you, and let the in breath be that word or phrase that brings you to a place of calm and peace, joy, whatever it is that you need, whatever is your healing elixir. Maybe it's peace, calm, joy, love, whatever that is for you. Okay. So I want to mention one other thing about breathing before we start our meditation today. So in episode 1, we just breathe naturally, right? In episode 2, I think I had you, and 3, I think I had you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, so that you'd be very more attuned to your breathing, because you're breaking your normal habit of breathing naturally. I'm going to very briefly now introduce you to a more advanced style of breathing that's used by people who meditate and have been doing it for a while. I mentioned earlier in my jabbering in this episode that my brother had a yogi, or a spiritual guide, decades ago. This type of breathing is called yogic breathing. It's the kind of breathing that yogis, advanced practitioners, will do as they are meditating. So here's the idea. I want you to notice your breathing for a moment. Notice where you're breathing in your body. You tend to breathe through your chest, sort of in general, have shallow breaths that only occur up here. Do you breathe? You can't see where my hands are, but they're on my belly. Do you breathe more deeply down into your belly? Yogic breathing is another way of being very intentional with your breathing to make the full use of your breath capacity in your lungs and in your body. So the way a yogi would breathe, or the way yogic breathing goes, and when we do our meditation in a moment, you can try out a mantra, try a different mantra. You can try out yogic breathing or not. This is a place for you to try things new, right? So yogic breathing In yogic breathing, you start. So when you take your in-breath, you start by filling up your belly. You breathe at the bottom of your tummy, fill that up with air, and then you end the inhale by breathing and expanding your chest. So you expand your diaphragm in your stomach, and then you expand your chest until you're full of air. And then on the exhale, you do the opposite. You let go of the air in your chest, and you end by sucking in your diaphragm in your stomach. So the breathe in starts down low and ends with the breath filling the top of your lungs. And the breathe out starts by you exhaling the top of your lungs and going back down to where it started, to your diaphragm in your belly. Breathing in and breathing out by filling and emptying your lungs in those sort of opposite directions. Try it. It's really interesting. And if and when you become really skilled at yogic breathing, you will find that taking that kind of deep breath in a really stressful situation will change your brain chemistry and calm you more than anything. So that's a really unique type of breathing that I wanted to just introduce you to and invite you to try. So with that in mind, we're going to start our meditation. You may not have a mantra ready to go, but use the first one that comes to your mind. Try it for the first 30 seconds, or try it for this entire meditation. And then another time afterwards, after you reflect and go, no, that wasn't exactly right. I don't think calm is the right word for me. I think the word I really want is more like calmness, or relaxability. Doesn't even have to be a real word. You could choose a series of sounds or make up a word, right? You have to listen to your spirit and let it guide you to whatever is there for you. Trust it, use it, and know that next time you can choose something different if you want to. Listen to your spirit again next time and realize that, no, this time I'm going to try something different. And at some point you'll settle on, after all, it's like trying on clothes. You'll settle on the one you're going to buy, the one that looks best for you. And then that's the one you can keep using. But getting there, you have to first go through the process of trying on your clothes, trying on the mantras. So here we go. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes if you'd like to. Put your body in a comfortable position, seated, laying down. You could even stand up if you wanted to. In fact, a whole other style of meditations that we're not going to get into in this series is walking meditations, where you breathe in and out with each step. And they're moving meditations. They're also fabulous and amazing. And you can do it when you're walking down the street. You time your breathing and your mantra, whatever it is, with each footfall, with each step. But the point being is that for today's meditation, you could walk around if you want, or you can just stand, sit, lay, put your body in a relaxing position. Begin paying attention to your breathing. Breathe naturally, or breathe intentionally. Whichever you want to try, whichever resonates most with you in this moment. Take on that style of breathing. Now, in your mind's eye and your thoughts, you could try the metacognitive or the mindful version that we did in the last episode. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Or you can try a mantra. Calm, calm, calm. Or whatever your word or your phrase or your sound or sounds are for you. And let's just sit and relax and try that for a few minutes. Keep breathing. Keep practicing your mantra or your words. As you notice your thoughts drifting away, compassionately bring yourself back to your mantra, to your words, to your breathing. You know, the goal of this meditation, and really any one of the goals, is to bring yourself to a more peaceful state. We live in a world where so many of us were not enculturated. We were not raised in a culture that taught us how to be peaceful, that gave us practice in being calm, intentional practice, that made us feel that we were worthy or deserving of having a moment of peace, a moment of calm. Some of us believe that our purpose is to stay busy, to help others, to take care of others, to do things, to be productive. Those also aren't real thoughts, but they were put there a long time ago when you were very little, when you were taught what it means to be human. Meditation is an opportunity to let go of or expand that thinking to include peace, calm, and the idea, if you didn't know it already, that you deserve peace and calm. You are worthy of it. You deserve it. It is your right as a human being, no more or less than anyone else who has ever or will ever live. Your right, just as theirs, is to have peace and calm, and to know that you have the ability to create it for yourself in the face of a world that might tell you otherwise. In just a moment, I'm going to bring you out of today's meditation. I'd like you to pay attention now just to your breathing. If you were using a mantra or repeating some words, you can let those go now. And just notice the sound of the air going through your nose and into your lungs, and the sound it makes coming out. Feel your body as it exists in this time and this space. Notice your strengths, the parts of your body that are holding you up, protecting you, keeping you grounded and safe. And begin moving that body a little bit. You can't see it right now, which is a good thing, but I am squeezing each of my butt cheeks, the left one and the right one, and the left one and the right one. And I'm I'm in a chair, so I'm moving as I squeeze that glute. I'm also sort of moving that hamstring or thigh muscle downward. as a way to begin to wake up my body and bring that energy all the way to my feet and toes. I am circling my feet around my ankles right now and moving my toes. I'm beginning to circle my shoulders around in different directions, maybe even different directions from each other, and wiggling my fingers and opening my eyes. And now here we are again in this present moment, in this virtual space together. I want to make one last quick point before we end our session today, and that is about spaces. I neglected to mention this in episode 1, and I wanted to make sure that I got to it before these 4 episodes concluded. In early childhood education, we often distinguish between content and context. Content is what we're doing with a group of young children. Context is where it's happening, the time and the space it's happening in. So the content of these episodes has been meditation. But what I forgot to mention to you was your context, and to make sure that you're doing your meditation in the context that most nourishes your meditation and supports it. So make sure that when you're trying to meditate, you're cutting down on as many distractions as you can. Do you have a private space, a quiet space? Do you live in a house with members of your family who like to watch TV or run around and make noise? Well, that's okay. You can tune them out. That's possible. You could also ask them ahead of time. Again, knowing that you deserve it, as I mentioned earlier in the meditation, you could say to them, I'm going to meditate. Would you all please try to be quiet for the next 10 minutes? Thank you so much. I love you for that. Then look around you at the space. Might you dim the lights a little bit? You could light a candle. Some people will very purposefully burn incense because it helps them to pay attention to their sense of smell. Some people are very intentional about what clothing they wear. They're not wearing anything that's too tight fitting, something that's loose and comfortable. Pay attention to the temperature in your room. Is it chilly? Maybe you need to wrap yourself in a blanket. Is it too warm? Maybe you need to turn on a fan. But the point is look around and notice your context and make it as conducive as possible to a positive meditation session for yourself, whatever you think you might need. Have some water nearby, for example. Go to the bathroom before you start. All those contextual things so that the content, the meditation techniques that we've learned together and practiced together over these last 4 episodes, that you can assure yourself that you are being as effective as you possibly can be. And then practice, practice, practice. People who, that's actually the verb that's used. People practice meditation. That word practice is important because it means it's not a one-off. It's not a one-time thing. It's something you do on a regular basis. And much like early childhood education, where we talk about process versus product, if you're not in early childhood, don't worry about it. You don't have to know what that means. But basically, it means the journey is more important than the destination. And so by calling meditation a practice, you know that you never arrive. You're never, like when you practice the guitar, you think, oh, I'm going to keep practicing the guitar. And then one day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be a guitarist. But the truth of it is that you just keep practicing your guitar throughout your life and you get better and better. And there's a point at which you call yourself a guitarist, but you're still just practicing. You're always practicing and honing that skill of playing a guitar. Same with meditation. It's called a practice because you are always in the process of practicing and improving your skills. And my friends, I will tell you, the more you take on some of these ideas that I've hoped to teach you in these sessions, and the more research you do out there, if you get excited or really interested in this and begin to learn even more ideas and techniques, the more skilled you will become. and the greater impact, positive impact this will have on your day-to-day life and on your physical, mental, and emotional health. Doing it once with me, it's like going to the gym once. It's fine, but you have to go repeatedly in order to build those muscles and to be able to then look at yourself in the mirror and say, wow, I look different. With meditation, you will be able to feel differently and experience your life differently. But it takes practice over time. It takes patience and compassion and commitment. That takes us to the end of episode 4, my friends. I hope you found all of these episodes valuable. Come back and rewatch them whenever you want, whenever they're helpful to you. I'm going to sign off by saying something that may sound weird to you if we're strangers, but know that somehow for me it's true. And that is that I love you and that I want and wish only the best for you and those you love and the world that we all share together. Be well, my friends. And if you ever see me in person, once this pandemic is over, just know that I've got a hug waiting for you. I'm a really good hugger, and I've got one waiting for you should you want it. I won't ever hug anyone against their will, but if you want it, know that I'm well known for my hugs, and I can't wait for this pandemic to be over so that when you see me, I can give you a great big hug and you'll understand why I say I love you. Until next time, bye-bye.